Are you wondering about how to help someone you love who needs recovery? Are you suffering watching someone that you are very close to suffer with this terrible disease that haunts most of the nation? If we have 1 in 5 people that are in active addiction, then we know that it's impacting not only my family, but your family too. So please join us in this journey of recovery. Don't miss it. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Relationship Blueprint, where you unlock your power of connection. And today's story is one that I just love. You know how I feel about recovery and the miracle of recovery. And today I have with me a dear friend of mine who you've met before, Maureen Bryan, an addiction specialist and an author of a new book that will be coming out, Reconnecting Hearts, and her son, Jamie Bryan. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But what I want you to listen for is the hope that you hear in this story, because too many people are out there suffering from addiction right now, and finding hope when you're in that place is really hard. And I remember it pretty vividly. Even though I had seen someone in recovery, I couldn't even really wrap my arms around, you know, how could I live without my best friend? The only thing that I thought helped me through the hard times. So I'm really happy you're here today. Welcome, Maureen, and welcome, Jamie.
Thanks so much, Coco. Thanks for having us. It's a real honor to be here, and I'm really delighted, as always, to have James here because my experience of speaking with him is that people love him way better than me.
Well, that must be a lot because I love your mom a lot. And so, do you like to be called James or Jamie?
James.
James.
Yeah.
James.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. I apologize.
that's okay.
Yeah, I've been in about 100-degree heat, so forgive me. It's so hot here.
Oh
I'm
my
in South
God.
Carolina. It is hot.
Uh-huh.
So, I need to keep drinking its water because
You don't need to keep drinking.
because it
Keep
is
drinking water.
definitely a time to hydrate.
Exactly.
Uh, so let's,
Yeah.
Maureen, will you start a little bit about yourself? Because people who have heard your podcast before know a
Yeah.
little bit about you, but many people may not know who you are. Will you
Yeah.
tell a little bit about you?
Sure. So I'm Maureen Bryan, and I am a senior clinical faculty with the Mago Relationships International, which is my passion, my love, besides my husband. And I'm a relationship therapist, trainer, faculty trainer. I have a private practice in Toronto, and I am an addiction specialist. And my journey with addiction started in my own childhood, where my father was an alcoholic and eventually a recovering alcoholic. So I grew up in an alcoholic home. Um, and I've been working in the field of addiction since almost 40 years now.
40 years.
Almost 40 years. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. A long time. Right. And I've
Mm.
been through many different treatment modalities. And I just love Imago because I think Imago and recovery language, we speak the same language. Right.
I found the same thing.
Did you? Yeah.
Well, because when I was in early recovery, James, I started, I felt like I had to like make up for lost time. So I went back to school right away, had to, and I wanted to do Imago work. And I just thought how beautifully they lined up. Like one did not fight with the other, which made a lot of sense at that time because my recovery was so critical. And yet my love for this work was so important. So the fact that they aligned was
Mhm.
really important to me. So I
Yeah.
get that, Marie.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'm also the mother of James, and he can introduce himself, and talk about who he is and what he's doing with himself.
Yeah, tell us about you, James.
I'm James. I'm a recovering addict, clean for over 8.5 years now. I'm an addiction counselor at a private place and privately do sober coaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that, James.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you were also in the field of recovery. I love that because, it's I don't know if you agree with this or not, but when I was looking for a therapist um, post recovery, I drove to Charleston, which is about 2 hours from here, to be with a therapist who was also in recovery because I felt like I needed someone who got it on a level that, could really understand me and where I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So
And
you
that
must be changing a lot of lives.
Yeah, hoping.
no, I think
Yeah.
you've made a big impact. I mean, what's really cool for us is now we can talk about this stuff.
Mm.
Mm,
And I mean, that for me is just a thrill. And we actually know common people in common in recovery
Yeah.
who talk to me and say, James, your son James helped me so much. Right.
yeah. Tell
Um,
us about a sober coach because I think a lot of people don't really know what that is.
It's it's new. It's getting coming into Canada, but it's been in the States for a while. It's finding their route of recovery and coaching them along the way. A lot of people push the 12 step. 12 steps are amazing and other recovery ways, but it's kind of like let's find your way and see what works with you and what best works with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
So
kind
if
of
you
cool. Rather than a prescribed program where
Yeah.
you're going to do X, Y, and Z, it's almost like motivational interviewing where you work with them to find out where's their point of entry into recovery, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you live with the person for a period of time, or how does that work?
No, that would be a sober companion where they live
Oh,
and kind of take them to meetings. It's just private. We just meet on Zoom or in person.
okay. All right. All right. So sober companion, you're living in,
Yeah.
sober coach, you're coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for that clarification. I really
Yeah.
had not realized that. And so how long have you been doing that?
Um, Counseling,
Sit.
it's over 6 years now, and sober coaching, just I think it's in my second year.
So, James, if someone told you 10 years ago you'd be sitting here doing a podcast about your sober coaching and your counseling with addiction, what would you have told them?
I wouldn't be sitting here.
No, me either.
Where would you be?
I don't think alive. I don't think
I don't
alive.
think so either.
I think that that's really at the heart of our show, really, is that, people think about addiction in so many different ways, so many understandings about addiction, but we know that often it ends in death, institutions, homelessness, just devastation. And then not only it's true for the addict, but all the people around them. So that's what we're here to talk about today is your journey,
Yeah,
um, individually and together, because you've really it's a parallel program, right?
it is. Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean, what you both are saying, I think is so important. Like in my book, Reconnecting Hearts, I talk about old school individual sort of focused treatment where the old school thinking is you have to wait for someone to hit bottom. Well, while we sat back and waited, a lot of people died.
Yeah.
So I really like this approach of relational interventions, which I also do. To sometimes people go so far down the rabbit hole that they can't pull themselves out.
Yeah.
Would you say that was true about you? Like
Mm.
you were, it wasn't really until I finally got to a place of I can't, with love, I can't do this anymore.
Well, it was the last straw. I wanted to get out, but I just didn't know how to do it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I totally get that, James. It's like nobody knows that the guilt and the shame that you feel when you tell somebody, I'm not going to drink anymore, or I'm going to just have one, or I'm just going to drink on Fridays, or I'm only going to drink wine, or whatever whatever the promise is that
yeah,
what people don't realize about that is that it's a brain disorder, and that as much as we love people, that doing it on our own just so
yeah.
big, so big. Yeah.
that-
So
That's
James, how old were you when you started drinking? Do you remember
It
the
was, marijuana first at the
uh-huh.
age of 13,
Mhm.
around there. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. May as well kick into your story. Yeah,
Yeah, I was 13 years old. lived in lived I think it was Mississauga or something in Canada. And I was in a group home. Um, and they got into the high school scene, right? I was like a skateboarder kind of guy, sports guy, so kind of fell into that crowd of like the cool people. I never really did anything to fit in. I'm an outgoing person, so it's not hard for me to fit in. It was just kind of found something, and it took away kind of my past. If when we get into it, it's just like I say it before. It's like I didn't do it to fit in or party or anything. It took away that, I don't know, that empty feeling I always had when I was a kid and stuff. And I found marijuana and I was like, hey, this makes me feel good.
Right.
It's a way to feel connected somehow that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to a lot of
Yeah.
people, but there is that empty feeling of just, and you said to, like, deal with the past, to not deal with it really, but to maybe
Yeah.
hide from it.
Oh, to relieve the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that empty feeling you talk about is so interesting because in Imago, as Coco knows, like
Yeah.
when we don't get our needs met in childhood, it creates
Yeah.
a wound and that leaves a void.
Yeah. I had that.
Yeah, you had that. That's, because Jamie came to live with us when you were 7,
Yeah,
right?
6, 7.
7 years old. So he had been through a lot by the time he got to us, right?
Mm.
And, do you want to say anything about your mom and dad?
Oh yeah, my biological parents, they're both addicts. They were both addicts. They're both deceased from overdoses. I got taken away from them or my mother at 18 months or so.
Yeah.
And then kind of got shopped around from foster homes and stuff, and never got that nurturing or that love, or is this my real dad? Is this my real mom? It was kind of like, you know, didn't feel like fitting in, and it didn't fit. It's like, where am I going next? What's going on? I was still young, but I still had like, I don't remember it exactly because I'm like 40, 49 years old.
Don't tell people you're
Yeah,
fine, then they'll think I'm.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, but it was a big part of like, I normally tell them my story. It's what's happened through recovery. It's not just like the dark past. It's
Yeah.
not how I figured out stuff. That's what was happening in my past. Like, it's abandonment. Not feeling loved, nurtured, stuff like that. It's not just like they left and stuff. It was more of a, oh, now I know. Now I know what the names are, and what it was.
Yeah, because you can't, as a kid, you don't have the language or the ability to even understand and process all that. You just have the feelings of like you said, that empty feeling and knowing something isn't right, but you don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah. It was
But
nameless.
yeah, but recovery's taught me what, like, to look into what it was and where it was coming from and stuff like that. It's like, oh, now I can deal with it, and I know the words for it, and I can properly take the right routes to try and figure out how to how to get myself better and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause I think a lot of addicts don't know what the pain are. They just think uh getting clean and going to some meetings, it's gonna, it's like, is it shame? Is it guilt? Every addict's got that, but or is it the abandonment? Is it your self-worth? Is it all this other stuff, right?
That's underneath
Right.
that. What's so the Gabor Mate, who's
Yeah.
Gabor.
Yeah.
He's a famous Canadian addiction doctor.
Yeah.
I love his quote. He said,
Yeah.
"Don't ask why the addiction. Ask what's the pain underneath."
Yeah, exactly.
What's the pain underneath? That's a great quote, right?
Yeah. Well, it is. That's what it did. I haven't seen an addict that's like, oh, my life's beautiful and I love life and it's all flowers and roses. It's
And
something.
I became addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that what you're also highlighting so well, James, is that if you're lucky enough to
Yeah.
get sober, right?
Yeah.
And you stop there, you're really maybe missing a whole lot that you could be feeling a whole lot better by not getting to what's underneath. Where does my
Yeah.
pain come from? Because I don't know about you. I'm guessing that a lot of people that are in recovery that are they're miserable still, or they're still there's suffering, and what it looks like is not always the sobriety that at least I want, in my life,
Yeah.
and it could be different if they could get some help beyond 12 steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where, modalities, therapies like Imago come in, because Imago
Absolutely.
directly gets at what's the pain underneath,
Yeah.
right? And gives people the tools to be able to uh, reconnect with themselves and also in their relationships. But
Yes.
Imago goes directly to the pain underneath,
Mhm.
right? Which
So
is like cool.
yeah. So James, you're 13, you start smoking pot, pretty typical of a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
kids, right? I mean, they haven't had the trauma maybe that you've had, but that age seems to be a age of experimentation. And then what happened from there?
Well, it's yeah. It was like we've heard a lot that it's a kid start at that time, but it wasn't just starting. It wasn't like the weed. It was just as much as I could get. I got
Yeah.
it, and it was like I need more. And it's happened through my life. I could talk about addictions, not even in drugs.
Yeah.
Like I got one bike, I wanted 10 bikes. Like I got new pants, I wanted more pants. Shoes, and it was when I was a kid. So
Uh,
it was I call it the hungry wolf. I was feeding the hungry wolf. Like I couldn't, and nothing could satisfy me. So now I know that's what it was from. But it was just it was as much as I could, and trying to sneak around and do it and not get caught.
I
I used
think
to
the
say,
hungry Go ahead, I'm sorry,
I
Maureen.
used to say to him, like, I was just the example of, a box of chocolates, right?
Yeah,
If I gave James, like, here, have a chocolate, before I know it, he was little,
yeah.
he'd eat the whole
I
box.
did.
And then
I did.
he'd come to me and say, I got a stomach ache,
Yeah,
and,
If one's good, five's better.
oh yeah.
But the hungry wolf, I love that, visualization of, what you're giving our listeners, a picture of is that there's just really not enough,
no.
No, there's
and that
no
is the
no amount that
story
can
of
fill that
addiction.
void other than connection, right?
Yeah,
The void gets filled with connection,
yeah,
right?
But
People,
going back to your,
yeah,
story of origin,
yeah,
when connection has been painful,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
then why would you turn to another human for that need when a substance is reliable,
yeah.
right?
Very true,
Yeah, very true.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're 13, then what happens sort of next? Where's the next part of the story go?
I got into like skateboarding, so it's like very deeply, and I was hanging around older guys and stuff that were into the party scene and going to clubs and all that stuff, and just kind of they took me under their wing, and it was kind of they did like in skateboarding and snowboarding, you don't really treat people by age. It's just a group of guys getting together, and it doesn't matter your age or culture or ethnics or anything. It's just kind of like the programs.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
accept everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a community.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah,
community.
yeah. It was very true. Yeah, it was a community,
Yeah.
and they took me under their wing, and like I was getting a little bit better, and they brought me around more, and
You're
just
getting better at skateboard.
yeah, skateboarding, and then and we just skateboard during the day and go out at night, and just never stop for like 32 years.
So it was
But
like a
you
lifestyle that
Yeah, it is.
that
Skateboarding is it as a skateboarder. They don't call it a sport. We call it a lifestyle. It's just you breathe, eat, sleep it. Same with like addiction. I was addicted to it. Everything I do, like normally, I still have like my addiction traits. Like I play slow pitch now, like softball. I want to go every weekend. I want to be out there batting. It's we don't lose it, but we can put it into positive ways.
that's a that's a really good point, James, is
that
that
is.
our sometimes our, biggest challenges can become our superpowers because we give 100% to what we do.
Right.
And if we can channel that energy the way that you're describing into the positive areas of our life, it can be pretty powerful. I get that too.
Yeah.
So you live that way for 39 years, and you're what? What's going on with you personally at that point? What are you thinking about
So
stopping?
maybe before we go there,
Yeah,
I think, I mean, he did progress from weed,
yeah.
right? He
Oh,
Yeah.
progressed way far beyond weed. I mean, he because of his skateboard injuries and everything else, he got into painkillers, and
Yeah.
you
Oh,
actually
right.
you didn't drink much during your teens, but when you
No,
found
I know when I was with the skateboard, it's parents don't see everything.
no
No.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially the mother that's the addiction counselor with her son, I didn't see everything.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's just it was around. Just what we did every like it because we skateboarders didn't really have a set plan. We're just like kind of the rebels of the sports industry, and we're just go skateboarding during the day and go out or just go drink at somebody's house, do drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So you went
wake
quite
up.
far
Yeah,
down the path.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it was a lot of drugs and
yeah,
alcohol, and really what you're describing just sounds like anything that would allow you to keep going and live
yeah,
the lifestyle you wanted to live.
yeah.
Whether you wanted to or not, the lifestyle you were living, and everybody around you, which I think is another important piece of addiction, is that you're surrounded by people doing the same thing.
But
Right.
not everybody. Like people would go to work. I can see where the addiction part was because I didn't work. I didn't, so I was more worried about the party and where the party would be next night. And then my skateboarding and snowboarding suffered because I was more and more worried about where can I get drugs next or what bar are we going to? And skateboarding stopped and I kept on going. And it was more of like, where's the bars? Where's the people with the drugs and hanging out and going into not nice neighborhoods or nice not nice buildings and
Yeah.
you know
At what age was James, Maureen, when you realized, oh, my son is this is different. Something's going on. How old was he then
That's a
for
good
you?
question.
yeah,
Well, at a young age?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I did not like him smoking weed. I knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
I, I yeah, I didn't like him smoking weed for sure. I'm trying to think how old you were when I sent you to the Karen Foundation.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Sure.
it's a now.
19.
So I think at the first treatment center that he went to, he was 19. He went to the Karen Foundation in Reading, Pennsylvania, which was great.
Mhm.
And well, I know you don't think it's great now? No.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I wasn't. I was making you happy. That I could be
well,
honest.
thank you.
Yeah.
That was good. It did make me happy.
Yeah.
So that's important. I want to pause
Yeah.
there for people listening, right? And I've had this with lots of clients and people in the rooms talk about this, is that sometimes they'll throw a lot of money on treatment centers because they want the best, right?
Yeah.
What
That's
you're
it.
saying, James, is you just weren't ready.
No.
You say he was young.
Oh, it wasn't even about being ready. It was just I'm not stopping. It's just
Yeah,
I'll go.
You
Oh,
said that you wanted to make her happy, is what you
yeah,
said.
yeah. I knew I wasn't going to stop. It just
I
But
didn't.
it's so classic, though. Mom saying that was a great facility, and then James
it
saying
was. It's a
"Oh,
nice facility.
it was a good vacation.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. I think with that one, I think they should have worked on. I'm not a professional, but they should have worked on more about the addiction, not with it like all these chemical words and all this like brain stuff. And I told them at one time, I was just like, "Can you just tell me how to stop? You haven't told me that yet. You told me what drugs does to my body and my head." And I go, "Yes, I know that because that's why I use them."
Yeah,
So I forget about stuff. How do I stop? How do I stop? And they didn't have an answer.
Yeah, how
that's
do I
interesting.
stop? What a
Yeah.
great question.
How do I stop?
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, for me, that was the first time that I've ever seen you read in public,
Yeah.
and that blew my socks off
Yeah. It
because,
did help. It planted that how they say it
yeah,
planted the seed.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool. Planted
Well,
this.
yeah, I mean, right. It's some people say that AA and treatment centers ruin your drinking or your addiction because now you got to think about it differently. But so I see, yeah. So it did have some sort of seed planted for you. And if you were meeting with a young person today at 19 and they say to you, "How do I stop?" What would you tell them?
What's gonna work? You got to work on yourself. Like you were mentioning before. I didn't break into it, but it's like the programs or 12 steps and stuff like that, or addiction therapy and stuff is to work on the addiction. And then I'm a big promoter of therapy.
Mhm.
It's because you got to work. You got to figure out what's going on inside.
Right.
I can get rid of the drugs, but I still have those problems. And if I don't really do too much work with it, I'm still. It's like we're doing it in my at my work. It's kind of like he goes, what kind of person would you be if you just got clean? I go, I'd be clean. I'd be a clean son of a gun. Still, I'll use polite words, but I wouldn't have changed. I would have just been clean.
I think that's what I'm talking about when
And
we
miserable.
yeah,
Right.
like that people sometimes that we meet in the rooms are that they're still sick and suffering, and that's not the it's just hard to watch when you know, like, what has happened for you has happened with the right help, and that's why you're saying, how do I stop?" Well, you start some with stopping, and then you're saying therapy.
Yeah.
Get
Or
into
yeah,
therapy.
but the type of therapy or like there's a whole bunch of underlying stuff because I don't know everybody's background and like traumas and stuff like that
Yeah.
that they go through and
Mhm.
situation. I'm not. That's what I mean. I don't have all these certificates to say what you're saying. So I go find your right type of therapist and we'll help you get rid of the drugs you need to work on the inside. And that's how I got taught too.
Yeah,
Working on the
Yeah.
inside. Yeah.
They're like, we'll get rid of the drugs. Now you got to go fix you.
yeah. So, Maureen, what was it like for you as the mom? You send your son to the
The
caring
Karen Foundation.
the Caring Foundation, and, he comes back and, he has not kicked his addiction, and you're an addiction specialist, and he is your son. You adore him, and what do you do with that? Like, back then, I know what you would do now is different, but, like, remembering back then what that was like as a mom who where you're powerless.
Absolutely powerless. Yeah. It was not easy. I think you had about 3 months clean then, I think, when he came back. Maybe. I don't know. He was better for a while. But I don't know, it was just a downhill slide, a complete and for me, I felt I was doing all the right things. I took a lot of flack from a lot of people, I'll say, because I refused to kick him to the curb, right? For me, the art trying to maintain some kind of a connection with you, James,
Yeah.
was so important to me, right? But he was spiraling down, and I spiraled down with him too. Even though I was setting boundaries, I was trying to maintain some kind of contact with him. I just felt, yeah, helpless, like totally helpless. I had fortunately some good colleagues and friends, and I went to Al Anon for a little bit. Um, I did know I had to support myself, right? And take care of myself. But still in all, in the end, I couldn't do any more than what I did, you
Well,
know.
tell me more about I want our listeners to understand this because if you are at home and you love your husband, your child, your best friend, uh, and they're suffering from addiction, Maureen, I want to hear more about you said that you went down some with him, but you were getting a lot of flack from people because, can you elaborate on
Well,
that?
because some people, not all
Uh-huh.
people, but some of the people in my life like to, tout around the word codependent.
Uh-huh.
I took a lot of shaming and labeling, and you know what I like to say about that? Yeah, should people really be shamed for trying to help someone they love,
Mm.
right? So I tried to outsmart his addiction. Good luck, by doing things like, sure, okay, I'll get you here's a card for food, to go to the local store. And well, then he'd be selling that. Or, okay, so that didn't work. So next move, I'm going to send food over to him. I couldn't stand the fact that he wasn't eating
Yeah.
as a mother. I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
And so then I sent food over. Then he'd start saying, well, I'd like this and this. And then I realized he was selling the damn food. Right. It just went on and on. So I took a lot of, I think, shaming from people that,
Yeah.
it's sort of the old school attitude of kick him to the curb.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tough love. Tough love, right?
tough love. And love has to have edges. Absolutely. Love has to have edges.
Tell us more
And
about that, Maureen. I don't know that people might know what that
yeah,
means.
so you have to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Right. But I'll tell you what, when he was at his worst, when you were at your worst, um, all I could do was I have a picture still in the den of him, and he's wearing an orange T-shirt, and he's happy and healthy. I would take that picture of you and just surround it in white light and pray to God that he wouldn't die, right? That was about all I had left, because I realized he could have died at any time in the end. He really could. He was very close, you know. So, um, back to the whole tough love thing. In the end, I was frazzled and tired and frustrated. And, I wasn't talking to you very respectfully. The phone would ring and I'd cringe like, oh God, now what? What kind of an emergency is this? Or is this another ask for money? Stuff that people with addictions do, you know. And I watched this little video called What is an Addiction Really?
Ah,
And it hasn't even got words to it. It's just it's got, I mean, spoken word.
yeah.
Talks about bringing someone with an addiction back to their families and treating them with love, even if they're using, right? And that changed me, because then I started talking to, I don't even know if you recognize it, you may not have, to him more respectfully, with love, not being so frustrated with him. It's like, I like to say this, like separating the addiction from the person you love. He's not his addiction,
Mm,
right? Underneath all of that was still the kid that I chose, and I chose to love,
yeah.
right?
I wonder, James, if you do you remember a shift in your mom, or you really can't really
Uh,
recall that?
I was too out of it.
Mhm.
He really
But
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
what I'm wondering about is because so much of addiction, underlying is that shame factor, and I'm just wondering, as you're helping others now too, that treating someone with respect instead of shaming them and ostracizing them and leaving them again, abandoning again. Um, I'm just wondering how that today works, with your clients and your interventions so that people that are listening, like, how can I begin to do this? How can I begin to speak to my loved one respectfully, even though they may be hurting me? They're certainly hurting themselves. Do you believe that that's an important piece of this story?
Yeah. There has to be some sternness to it too. There has to be some shit, because we are trying to help them get to a point of where we can let them go, be independent, or the next step, right? So you got to point out the way you see and stuff like that. I think that what you're talking about is more the parental or the relationship part of it, or the partners.
Yeah.
But the addiction counselor's there to help with like the addiction part. Like if you're screwing up, we gotta let you know you're kind of screwing up.
Right.
We can't be like, oh, today you're doing great, but you got to be like, hey, come on, buddy. Like
Yeah.
this
And
could
I
be
think
very hazardous to your recovery. Like
right, right. Well, I mean, and I guess what I'm curious about is even as a family member, we can be direct and be respectful
yeah,
Yes.
versus the screaming, the shaming, the crying, the
Right.
pleading, the blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think that, there's an old saying about say what you mean what you say, and don't say
yeah,
it mean,
yeah.
um, that approach can be good because you cannot sugarcoat it, like not for the addict and not for you, right? It's not
No. Well, I do say it's like I'm not trying to hurt you here. Um, and I'll go. This is not coming from a place of a counselor. It's coming from James. Like saying I'm on the friendship level. Some people, it is just like I'm worried about it. Like this
yeah,
is I'm worried about, but I had to tell them I gotta bring it forward because
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it.
yeah,
Well, that's kind of it. Yeah, it's not love for you to that, but love
Yeah,
with edges, right? That
yeah,
there has to be some direction and guidance and, boundaries at times, right?
yeah.
And not at
So
times, but yeah,
so when
following
you
the way I see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
when how did you finally what was the turning point in your story? Where did that really make it shift?
I was. I was like the drug that I was using, heroin. I was using it at the end. It was not because of the drug anymore. It was because I didn't want to get sick anymore. So I was done for a while. I just that stuff is so bad that it takes you down a black hole, and it doesn't show you any light. So it just I couldn't figure out how to get off of it or be off of it, and you know it was hard. And yeah, my mom was part of it at the end. And she said she's done. I called her one day and she goes, "Don't call back unless if you want some help." And I think that was like the crying message that I needed to hear and stuff like that. And I went to a very dark point. I still remember the place and my buddy's house, Jay Champagne. Um, he lives on the 14th floor, and my whole body over, and something came over and said, "Call a detox." And I think that was my biological mom, because she died from drugs. And like I believe in certain things, and I really do believe in that. And then basically probably an hour or two later, I'm like, "I need help, mom. Can you call a detox? I've heard this thing called detox." I didn't really even know what detoxes were. And
Well, actually, I remember it just a smidge
yeah,
differently,
yeah,
where
Hold on, I just could I
okay,
just
go
say
ahead.
something?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this is really important, I think. So I want to make sure I got this. So
yeah,
you're on the 14th floor. Clearly, you're thinking about a bad
yeah,
alternative, right?
yeah,
And you think that maybe you got a message from your biological mom who died of an overdose, and you feel like, and you didn't use this word, but like seems to me like you had a moment of grace or spiritual,
yeah, for sure. It's
you
happened
know,
a couple times in my life, and during my addiction and in my recovery.
yeah.
it's why, I mean, I love that part of your story that I want to just
Like, great.
highlight for people, because people will say like, I have a friend who was driving and she ended up killing her 6-year-old daughter while she was driving drunk, and people will say like, "Well, why wasn't that your bottom?" The bottom for her wasn't then, the bottom was when she was at her daughter's gravesite, and, she called her daughter Ladybug, and, she's looking at the headstone in the snow, and a little ladybug crawls
Yeah,
out,
Oh,
yeah,
and that in that moment, then she knew that was her message, and she believed it was her little girl saying, "Live, mom, live," right?
yeah,
And so when people hear stories about, "Well, why wouldn't that be his bottom or her bottom?" But your story just illustrates that spiritual grace that,
yeah,
if we're open to it, there's something about you in that moment that had to be open in some way to receive
yeah,
that message.
yeah,
Yeah. So you don't even know about detox, and then you say, I got to call my mom,
yeah,
Maureen mom.
yeah,
So then what happens, Maureen?
well, that did happen. So I remember it was like February the 3rd, and, at
That's
2
just a
PM, yeah, from 2 PM, we had, I actually texted you, remember?
yeah, yeah,
And I laid it all out in
yeah,
text. "Don't call me until I love you. You cannot ask me to watch you die. I won't do it. And you're close. And, I don't wanna see you or hear from you until you've got your butt in a treatment bed." That was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was with a girlfriend. I was devastated, and, we were at a mall. I went into a store, and I was gonna buy a workout T-shirt, and I saw this T-shirt, and it had "blessed" written right across it in big letters, "blessed." And I don't usually wear signs like that, but I said, "You know what? I need a blessing," right? And I bought the shirt, and at 6 o'clock at night, he called me and he said, "I'm in Toronto East Detox," right? That was a blessing, right? And then about 2 weeks later, someone took a picture of him at an NA meeting in a church, and he was standing in front of a stained glass
yeah,
window with his arms up like this, right?
Wow.
And I said, "That is gorgeous," and then a week later, I was having lunch with him, and he'd written something across that was a screensaver on his phone, and he'd written something across it, and I said, "What does that say?" He says, "Mom, it says blessed." And he had no idea about my shirt.
yeah.
And so
Wow.
we have been blessed, and we're still blessed, right?
Wow.
That, he found your way. And
Wow.
it with the
I'm still finding my way. It's
yeah.
Aren't
Yeah.
we all, right?
You
Aren't we
know,
all?
yeah.
Aren't
It's
we
like,
all?
I'm very grateful every day for James' recovery and for mine and for our relationship. It's hard to describe. Both of us want to give the message of hope, right?
yeah,
That you can do it,
Yeah.
and you need to do it with people.
yeah,
You need
With
the whole
people.
relation. You need to do it with
yeah,
people.
people, community.
Yeah.
People and community. I mean, and, what do you always say, Maureen? The opposite of sobriety,
It,
the opposite of addiction is
addiction
not
is not
sobriety,
sobriety.
it's connection.
It's connection.
Yeah, they say that in the room too.
Yeah. Yeah. The opposite of sobriety. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. It's connection.
Yeah.
And I think, programs like AA and treatment centers, Bill W. got that right from the start that, people needed to give up their addiction and return to people, to community. But uh, they didn't they didn't know what to do with partners and families. So they put them off separately. And even today, everything runs out of the individual paradigm of if the addict goes away and works on themselves, and maybe a year later their partner gets involved. And so I've written Reconnecting Hearts because I believe that couples work, if there is a couple, needs to be the cornerstone of recovery and family work as well. And that's not instead of treatment, that's not instead of 12-step programs, because Jamie is known as the, what does Ethan call you?
But
He calls you the NA ninja.
I don't know. Yeah,
Tell us why. The NA in Ninja. I love this. So tell us
NA
why.
ninja.
well, I was very lucky in my singing. As it's I got up, I got brought up like you say the community are like-minded people, but counselors that didn't take any gruff, didn't take any
Got
crap
from
or anything. Yeah, it's just I got brought up into like pretty strict, like, hey, this is what we see works. This is and I really dug into that.
did.
I went to the guys and I was like, you guys are running my life. I've smashed it to the ground. I'm not even gonna try and attempt anything yet. Just you guys tell me I go left, I go left. If you tell me I go right, I go
Wow.
right. And they
Yeah.
taught me a lot. They taught me how to,
Mm.
like my word means something, and to bring yourself up, and
Yeah.
your self-esteem and stuff like that. And
So, James, you might appreciate this. I was in a meeting early on, and there's this, in a lot of the clubhouses, there's like
yeah,
literature, on the walls. And there was this scientific article that was written. I don't know who wrote it, but it would look like a medical journal article. And the title was Compliance versus Surrender. And I was like, huh. And what you just described, so when I read that article, I thought, this is the difference between really making it and not making it. Because what you just described is a
yeah,
complete surrender. My way failed.
yeah,
I'm going to let you lead me, instead of the ego kicking in, like, I know better. I'm so smart. I can outsmart anything. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love your story has that story of surrender.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. It's like the people said that it's like as addicts and stuff. It's the most difficult to ask for help, and to to drive, to keep on driving through that stuff, and keep on working. But it's the weird thing is I use as examples. I go, you work, and I'm like, and they'll go, yeah, and I go, your boss tells you what to do. What do you do? He goes, I do it. Well, why aren't you doing it in recovery then?
I love him. He just really brings it down to,
Yeah.
you know,
It is what it
That's how
is.
life is. Like you'll go get a personal trainer. It'll tell you what to do. You'll go. You even how she's telling relationships. You gotta sometimes you gotta do what your partner said. It's all around. But as addicts, why are we fighting so hard to
Yeah.
listen?
do it your own way when your own
That's
way
what I
doesn't.
try and teach. Is like, why are you fighting so hard to think? And there's like I have a funny saying. It's like real smart people have hard time in addiction, and that's not the smartest really is strive in addiction, because it's just it's if you make it simple, it becomes simple. If you make it harder, how you're saying is, I know everything. Why are you still like that? Why are you? Yeah.
If you know everything, how'd you get yourself here?
I just say that too. I say that too.
How'd you get yourself here?
You know, the Talbot Center in Atlanta is a treatment center for, I think it's physicians, and they talk about there how, the people generally stay there much longer because so many doctors, just by their virtue of like their character structure being physicians, think that they can outsmart things, and so it takes longer, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
to sort of get it, to do that surrender process, like, "Oh, okay, so maybe this isn't about me, maybe my ego is not allowing me to really receive what these people are trying to give me."
yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's so fascinating. So I would love to hear from both of you before we sign off today. What did if anything you haven't said today that you would love for people listening to hear?
Ah, hmm.
I don't know. If people are listening and they're having struggles, just know we love you and keep your hope up because it can get better, but you gotta find the way it works for you, right?
Reach out.
Yeah, reach out, 12 step or privately or therapy or anyway. Because I don't say I did this on my own. I had villages, I had cities, I had worlds help me get to where I am today, right? And it's like how we're saying, community. Find your community out there. It does work.
Mhm. It
So
works.
your message is really one of reaching out and finding community, whether that be therapist and 12 step or therapist and some other program, a sober companion, a sober coach,
Mm,
a physician to start with, like just someone to tell and then find a way to get help.
yeah,
Yeah.
ask for it too.
That's the
Ask
important
for
part. Ask
it.
for help.
Ask for help. And
You know,
thank
when I
you
think
today.
about your first, like his first year medallion, right? I think his NA group was completely blown away because the first two rows of that meeting were family,
Yeah,
our family. And a lot of the family had been through so much they'd given up,
yeah,
right? And that group said they'd never seen so many family members at a medallion, right? So there's a lot of repair with the family that you
yeah,
did too, right? And what I would say is don't give up. I persisted. I really did. And, I never gave up on him, and what you said at that first year medallion, one of the meaningful moments for him was that remember you said I think you said something like, "I was about to lose the only person in my life that's truly loved me, my mother." Right? And so he gave me his first year medallion,
mm.
right? He had 2, but he gave me one of them, right?
Wow.
Which was blew my socks off because that he earned that medallion, but he also felt like I earned it too, I guess. Is that why you gave it to me?
Well,
Did you
it's everybody. The family earned it. Everybody that was around.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that, that appreciation of the people who've loved you through it. And
Yeah,
it's so ironic how if we were getting a medallion for I've been cancer free for a year, the whole family would be there, right?
yeah,
But
Exactly.
that doesn't in our culture, we don't look at addiction that way. And I think that's the biggest shift that has to happen in our culture is seeing this really as a brain disease and that, people don't choose it.
Yeah,
Nobody
you don't
can
wake up
choose
one
it.
day and say, "Suddenly I think I'll"
Just what I wanted to be. Frankly, not.
well,
you know
some go down the road of addiction, and then they get on a drug that might have not been their drug of choice, and you get locked into it, like heroin, fentanyl, oxys. Like a lot of people got the oxy craze is due to people getting injured and some
Yeah.
other backdoor stuff that is all over Netflix and stuff.
Well, you know what, James? I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you, was fentanyl like, when you were doing heroin, was
No,
fentanyl really thing,
it
or
was
did
just
you
coming in.
missed that
It
chapter?
was just. I'm
Wow.
so glad I did.
Thank God. We're both
Wow.
God. Yes,
I
thank
think
you
that
for
was another God moment where God said, "Hey, next level is not. You're not going to make it past this level. Let's try and figure something out now."
Yeah. I mean, because in addiction, like, people just need to take what they're taking without that intervention, and if it's
Yeah,
laced with fentanyl, they're done.
yeah,
Yeah, and I did 10 seasons of the show Intervention, originally Intervention Canada and then Intervention on A&E in all over North America. And in the last years of filming, it was mostly fentanyl and just desperately ill people on fentanyl and desperate families. And I say the same thing to them. Don't give up. Persist. Stay with it, you know.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
And a lot of those people, that wasn't their drug of choice. It's
Right.
some just fell into it, like not falling into it, but
Yeah.
it was the only thing maybe around, like the oxys, and then they changed the medical form of it, and they couldn't use it like the drug anymore, so they went to heroin, and then got locked. It's like it's the sickness.
Progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to be on this stuff, but they don't want to be sick either. That's the other
That's
thing.
the thing that
They
stops.
lock into the dope sickness and stuff. It's like, I just want. That's what a lot of addicts will say. I just don't want to be sick.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Don't want to be sick, just avoiding sickness. And it's no even
Yeah.
longer about getting high. It's avoiding the withdrawal and all the other things that go
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Well, I really am so grateful for both of you to come on today and tell your story. And, my hope is always that if one person hears our podcast
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
and they say, if James did it, maybe I can too. If Coco did it, maybe I can too.
Yeah.
And if Maureen did it, if
Yeah.
Maureen could stay with love and that love has edges and that she didn't give up hope, but then you also made a clear line of what you weren't gonna tolerate anymore because you couldn't watch, you said, "I couldn't watch
No.
James die."
No.
And so all of these are so important for people to hear, and I love your story so much. Thank you again for sharing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Coco. I agree with you. If just one person gets something out of
Yeah.
this, it was worth it, right?
Yes, and we know that your book is not quite published yet. We have a publisher, there's not a publishing date yet, but it is called Reconnecting Hearts, Where Connection Becomes Possible
Right.
by Maureen Bryan.
That's right. It's
And
actually
you
called
will go ahead, I'm sorry.
Reconnecting Hearts, the missing link in addiction recovery for
The
couples.
missing link. You might wanna change that background because I was reading
I do
the
like that, actually. It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
the
It's
missing
definitely called Reconnecting Hearts. So,
I know it. They're both
yeah.
good. I don't know which I like better either, but
Yeah.
I do love the idea of reconnecting hearts because when we just even think about James' story, my own story, there's a broken heart in the story.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that history is, there is a broken heart, and getting to reconnect our hearts and feel that love and support is just hard to describe. So
Yeah.
I want to
Thank
thank you for being with us, and I want to thank our listeners. Please subscribe. Please like the podcast. Please refer it. Please share it with others. And that is what's going to keep us alive. We're in 800 cities and over 80 countries now. And so, what my guests are telling us, people need to hear. And more people need help with relationships, recovery from the sexual abuse, addictions, all kinds of issues that people are facing. So please help us spread the word. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you next time on the Relationship Blueprint, where you unlock your power of connection.